grand jury found that you sexually abused the writer E. Jean Carroll and defamed her. You've denied this. But what do you say to voters who say it disqualifies you from being president?
Well, there aren't too many of them because my poll numbers just came out. They went up.
Well, that was a clip from the now famous town hall that took place on May 10th, run by CNN, showcasing Donald Trump, as it turned out. And you can see there how masterfully Donald Trump used the situation to advantage, where he ends up looking good and the CNN anchor really doesn't.
Yeah, that's one of the theories floating around Democratic circles right now, that the party really wants to run against Donald Trump. I think that's inaccurate. I think what we're seeing is evidence of a more self-interested party, meaning the media. Let's look at some details to find out what's really going on here.
I'm Brendon Fallon.
And I'm Lee Smith.
And we're over the target.
You held on to those documents when you knew the federal government was seeking them and then had given you a subpoena to return them.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the
mind?
answer?
Do you mind?
I would like for you to answer the question.
Okay, it's very simple to answer.
That's why I asked it.
It's very simple to, you're a nasty person, I'll tell you.
There we have another highlight, Lee, from that now famous town hall with Donald Trump, organized by CNN. And this is great television. It's hard to deny. It's not surprising this got the kind of ratings that it did, something like 3 million viewers. This is what people want to see. And again, this situation was handed to him on a silver platter. He wielded the situation so well to his own advantage, and he ends up coming out looking like the good guy. This is what people want to see, a good guy and a bad guy. And in this case, it's the anchor who comes off looking worse for wear.
Yeah, I mean, it's great TV in the sense that the anchor, this, nominally appealing young woman dressed all in white, she's actually wearing the black hat. That she won't let Donald Trump finish a sentence. He turns on her at a certain point and says, you're nasty, right? This is fantastic TV. And it's tableaus like this that have some figures on the right who are wondering if a lot of this stuff isn't staged by the Democrats and their media arm to help Donald Trump win the nomination.
And I think there's some high-profile figures saying this. We can take a look at a clip here just to give the audience an example.
And CNN needs Donald Trump to be the nominee because CNN, ever since Donald Trump has been president, when he left the presidency, CNN's ratings took a nosedive. They have not recovered yet. They are in serious trouble. And so they need desperately Donald Trump to be the nominee.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, there are, impressive figures, important media figures, from conservative media figures. Many of them appear to prefer Governor Ron DeSantis as a candidate to Donald Trump. And the way that they're looking at this, there are people like Ben Shapiro, I think most prominently. And he's looking at this as the media is really, again, trying to promote Trump. And the rationale for that is that they are most keen to run against Donald Trump. They're really scared of DeSantis, which might be true. They might be true. They might be scared of DeSantis, but I think they're scared of Trump too. I don't think what's going on here has anything to do with the Democrats saying, yes, we really prefer to run against Donald Trump. There's something else going on here.
If they did have that intention to try and help Donald Trump win the primaries, there is certainly some kind of schizophrenic psychopathology involved here, because at the same time, they've done everything they possibly could to try and destroy Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's how I see it as well, Brendon. Look, this has been going on for a while since Donald Trump left the White House, the number of different operations. It wasn't just when Donald Trump was president. Look at the different things that have been going on since the election, after the election. We don't have to talk about the election and Russiagate and things like that, but everything that's been going on since then. The fact he was thrown off of social media, right? Remember, he was thrown off Twitter, thrown off Facebook. They shut down Parler, which was the place that Trump was using as an auxiliary to speak with a lot of people, right? There were the problems that he had with the National Archives, negotiating over presidential records, over his own records. And how did that culminate? That turned into a raid on Mar-a-Lago, the first time in American history that the home of a former president of the United States was raided by federal law enforcement. So again, to our point, if they want to run against Donald Trump, they sure have a funny way of showing it.
In this context, there's been a lot of firsts here with President Trump. This is unprecedented. No president in American history has ever received this kind of treatment. And for sure, Donald Trump was not a perfect president. He's not a perfect individual. But there's been other presidents who have certainly had their transgressions over American history. Richard Nixon, most notably the sex scandal involving Bill Clinton. But they didn't receive this kind of treatment.
Right. Look at what's happened again. To pick it up on the Mar-a-Lago raid, this was now been rolled into a special counsel investigation led by Jack Smith. Right. We see there all of the other different cases lined up against Donald Trump. Let's remember that recently Donald Trump was indicted and then arraigned by the New York District Attorney. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at some of the footage from Donald Trump showing up to be charged in a New York City courtroom.
And the clip that we just saw of arraignment of Donald Trump, this would have to be perhaps the most spurious of charges in relation to a tax offense. This is something that is a misdemeanor, if even that, and it's trying to be, the attempt has been to try and turn this into a major criminal offense. This is just one example. The situation that's happened in tandem with this, the sexual assault allegations made by E. Jean Carroll that have quite miraculously been passed by the grand jury in New York.
Miraculous is right. She couldn't even remember when the alleged sexual assault took place. Let's take a look at some of the footage from Trump's town hall when he describes the E. Jean Carroll case.
They said he didn't rape her. And
They did not
I didn't
say
do
that he
anything
didn't.
else either. You know what? Because I have no idea who the hell she is.
But Mr.
I
President,
don't know who this woman
can I
is.
ask you, given your recounting
I
your
don't know
version?
who, and I tell you this.
But Mr.
Are
President,
you ready?
can I
and I
can I
swear
ask
on
you
my
because-
children, which I'd never do. I have no idea who this woman. This is a fake story, made up story. What kind of a woman meets somebody and brings them up, and within minutes you're playing hanky-panky in a dressing room? Okay. I don't know if she was married then or not.
Again, it shows the audience is on his side, right? But they're not on his side because the Democrats are trying to get him the nomination. That's not what's going on here. They're trying to destroy him. Caitlin Collins was clearly given a mission to do everything she could to humiliate and ruin Donald Trump. And in that cause, she was carrying the banner for thousands of journalists around America, especially the Washington and New York City press corps. So they were not trying to help Donald Trump with that interview.
At the same time, Lee, you can't help but wonder how the situation came about that Donald Trump would have this golden opportunity and also have his supporters there in the audience and be dealt these questions that he has been tackling for years at this point.
Well, because you see, I mean, they thought that they had prepared her. They thought that they loaded her up with the proper, not only the proper answers and the proper pushback, right? You saw the argument about the National Archives, where she thought that she knew what she was doing. She'd been briefed on it, but she didn't know the details. Why? Because the press, in fact, has not reported the real details about that. And the press has not reported the actual problems that the current president of the United States, Joe Biden, has had with his own classified documents. Right? She's not describing that correctly, but Trump has the real story. So that's pushing her in particular on her back heel.
If you're enjoying this abridged version of Over the Target, looking at Donald Trump and his intriguing relationship with the media, you can find the full version on Epoch TV.
Watch us exclusively on Epoch TV, where you'll find Over the Target alongside all your other favorite Epoch shows.